One Piece is the best campaign you can run as a first-time DM. One Piece is a world full of mysteries and many things haven't been solved yet. So as a DM, you can fill the world with whatever mysteries you want. I'm coming to the end of my very first DMing experience with my first campaign. It's been around 3 years since that campaign started, and I want to say it was a success. It's been a great campaign. I wish I filmed it on this channel, but it's been a success, and they're about to fight the final boss, which spoilers for One Piece a little bit. It is not going to be that boss, but it is my own boss because I don't want to copy everything from One Piece, but you can use it as a blueprint to make a really cool D&D story. I think the first great tool of One Piece is that you can use log poses as your railroading tool. You don't necessarily have to railroad your players. And I think the hardest part is getting your players into the Grand Line. But once you're in the Grand Line, they have the log pose and you control what islands they go to. And I think from a player perspective, they don't feel railroaded in that way. And what I like to do in my campaigns for One Piece is I'll give them eternal poses or Viver cards and other tools to get them to other spots in the world. And they never feel railroaded. They know that they can always use the log pose to go to the next spot in the story. But I'll give them other devices to get to other places in the world. And it's kind of like the perfect tool for a campaign, because I know there's a lot of campaigns where you feel like they will just go off and start a business or just derail your entire campaign. It's close to impossible in this campaign, in my opinion. There are still ways that they could do that. That definitely can happen. And it might not always be a bad thing. It might be important for the story and you can make it work as a DM. But I think it's a lot harder in a campaign where you have an in-world explanation of how to get to places and that you can't really go anywhere else. If you don't know One Piece, there is a device called the log pose. It is a compass-like device, and that's the only way to get to different places in the Grand Line. And then once you get to the new world, you get this upgraded version of the log pose. That is another device that it takes you to 3 islands of their choice. It depends on which one you want to go to, but it has 3 different orbs, and you can use that to get to different spots. So at that point, again, they have so much freedom to go wherever they want in the world, and you just place their stories and you can build upon their character arcs and everything. At the time of this video, One Piece is not over, so you can make whatever villains, whatever groups you want in the world, and keep your players engaged. I feel like there are a lot of people who play One Piece D&D that will bring their One Piece knowledge into the story, and that is something you have to keep in mind. For my campaign, I just take out everything from the story. There are Rustage's campaign, they keep the story canon and they dodge it, which is I give props to him, because that is very hard to do, to try and dodge the points and not mess up the actual story. And that's also something you can do. But what I do for my campaigns is my warlords, I make them all on my own. Those are people that they will probably see at some point in the story. My Yonko, I make them all on my own. They'll see all of them. Like in my campaign that I have not uploaded, of course. My 4 emperors are someone named Annie May. We have Black D. Jones, Silver Stash, and Blondebeard. He was the main antagonist for the longest time, besides their final villain that they will see soon. But you can make your own villains, you can make your own plot points, and you can build your own world however you see fit. It's just the perfect world for that, because there are many mysteries. You could set your world in different time zones and say that it fits with the story. You don't even have to mention the actual characters in the story, like Gold Roger. You don't have to mention anyone like that, but you can. You can make members of the D clan. You can do all that stuff. And it is a really good first campaign. In this world, there are graded swords. They're called Meito graded swords. You can make your own magic weapons in this world and hand them to your players. And there will be a lot of people that want to be like Luffy and they'll just want to punch. Those players, you just give them hockey, and you can use that as an alternative to getting magic weapons, which are very popular in normal D&D. As an alternative, you can just give them hockey. Your sword fighters who wants to be Zoro, you can give them, swords. That they're already graded in a normal system that is like that. You could just add a +1 depending on the grade of the sword. If the black blade, make it even more powerful. Cursed blades, you give your own curses. It just works perfectly as if it was meant for D&D. As for spellcasters, you can either have them, you also don't have to use a homebrew book. You can always just use normal D&D classes, give them a fruit, a devil fruit, and they could just be playing a sorcerer, but they have the Mera no Mi, the fire fruit. They could just be playing a sorcerer and they could just use fire powers only, and that is their fruit. But what we could also do is give them a certain other resource that they can use, give them spell slots, and they can use their fruit that way. Zoan fruits are easy, it's just a barbarian. But if you want them to be more powerful than that, then just give them a bonus to their damage that's equal to their proficiency bonus. Very simple. But there's many ways to do this, and you can keep all of your players balanced, and it could be a fun experience for your first time DMing. But those are my main points. You can railroad your players easily without actually railroading them, but you know which island they're going to go to, no matter what they get under log pose. They go to a different island, they don't have to know it, but if they for example, let's say they use their eternal pose and they go to a random island, and then they look at their log pose again and it's a different direction from the original island, you could still use the same island. They will not know. They will not know the difference unless you tell them that you could just use the same island. It's really hard for them to get lost. Well, it's easy for them to get lost if they don't have a log pose, but it's very hard for them to not stay on track in this campaign. So I noticed something while editing this. You could definitely still get derailed in this campaign. It's still a great model, don't get me wrong. Look at the scuba. But they could just decide to break your eternal pose or break the log pose. If they do that, then at that point, I don't know, give up DMing. No, that is something to keep in mind. They might just try and break it, and that could just derail the campaign, and then they don't know where to go, and then they're lost forever. And yeah, but hopefully that doesn't happen. On track in this campaign, because the main goal for most campaigns would be to find a One Piece. You can make that whatever you want it to be. For my campaign, this might be a spoiler for them, so hopefully they don't see this, but it's just basically, it's kind of like the Dragon Balls. It's kind of like a wish to do almost anything that you want, which I feel like is very possible for the actual One Piece to be something similar to that. So I'm just playing around with that idea for the ending of their campaign. But you can do something like that, and that's the main goal. Or you can have a goal that they want to take out the world government, take out a certain pirate in the world. Anything like that, that's their goal. For any goal, you have to get through the random line. So you could just take them to as many islands as you want. And when you feel that they've gotten far enough, which I feel like they've gotten pretty far, they're level 15, and I feel like they're getting very powerful, then you take them to the last island, and that's the end of the campaign. Yeah, I think One Piece is one of the best campaigns to run, and I think my players would agree that they had a really good time with this campaign. Yeah, that's about it.